The views expressed are not necessarily those of KSCJ and Powell Broadcasting Company. This program is not intended to replace the advice of doctors or other clinical providers. Consult with your practitioner to ensure the proper course of action for you.
Welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well on AM 1360, FM 94.9 KSCJ. This program is dedicated to your mental health wellness and brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency. Here's your host, Art Silva.
Good morning, Siouxland. I'm Art Silva, and welcome to When Things Aren't Going Well. This show is dedicated to your mental wellness and how you can help yourself navigate the daily highway of life. Our show is brought to you by Family Services, a United Way partner agency serving the Siouxland community. Our topic today is service dogs and veterans. And this couldn't be a better time to a timely topic with Veterans Day right behind us. And joining me today from Family Services is Chief Operating Officer Brenda Geisinger and our special guest, Cindy Brody for Partners for Patriots. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here. And our topic today is in honor of our veterans, and we're talking about service dogs and PTSD. So with that, Cindy, can you please tell us about your organization and what you do?
Well, Partners for Patriots was founded to provide service dogs for disabled veterans. And we get these dogs and train them and deliver them to the veterans free of charge. We do not charge them. We go all on donations because we just feel they've had enough. You know, they have done so much. They have, signed that blank check and served for us. And we have a wonderful group of people. I mean, from puppy raisers that do the hard part and take 8-week-old puppies and keep them for about a year, take them to malls, restaurants, every place, and then I take them in, finish the training, and we match them with a veteran.
Well, that is quite a job. So it's a process that you go through, and your dogs are helpful with PTSD. And Brenda, we've had some experience, not necessarily with veterans, but with PTSD in general in the agency. You want to talk about what we've done with PTSD?
So PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, is really something a person may struggle with when they've had a traumatic event. And your flight or fight kicks in and you get triggered by something. It could be a noise, a smell, a flashback of a memory, and you have a hard time coping. It could be coping problems at that immediate moment or lifelong kind of struggling during the day coping problems. And so in working with that, you help the person reduce those triggers and how to function better in their life and how to manage things and their emotions.
Well, Brenda, you mentioned triggers. And Cindy, what are some of the triggers for the veterans on PTSD?
Well, as she said,
PTSD,
it can be anything from a smell to a guy wearing, the Jewish, wear the little caps, or, some Muslims might wear something that they served in the Middle East, and it just, triggers those emotions, the way people dress, the way loud noises. We had a gentleman that a car backfired. There was a lady in front of him walking her 2 kids, one in each hand, and he flattened them. He thought he was saving them. And, once she found out what happened, she did not press any charges or anything. But, it can be crowds. They can, a lot of them do not want to be crowds, people popping up behind them, people, all of a sudden there. And everybody's just living their life, but they don't understand what these people have been through.
This really came to my attention in the seriousness of this recently with our fireworks this past summer in the discussion. And those sudden noises, not only for dogs aren't favorites
right.
of that, but, we look at the veterans, and I get it. And
yes.
I think you have to understand where they're coming from in their situation. And, let's have a good time, but not at somebody else's expense.
No, and these people have seen things that you and I can't even imagine. We don't want to know. There's things they can't even talk about to anybody. They don't even tell their spouses.
I have a lot of friends and colleagues my age that were in Vietnam. Never talk about it.
Nope.
And you don't ask. If they want to talk about it, they bring it up on their own. But
Yes.
yes, that's very
But
true.
they can talk to the dog. They tell the dog these stories and they just listen, and that is what they need. They need that dog just to be there, to listen. They have to get it out. And these things that happened, one guy brought up having, to shoot a child. He was a father. But this child was going to bomb, was carrying a missile deal underneath his, robe. And it's like, I can't even imagine having to make that decision.
A lot of things we just don't understand. I'm Art Silva, and you're listening to When Things Aren't Going Well. And with me from Family Services is Brenda Geisinger, and our special guest from Partners and Patriots, Cindy Brody. Let's continue our discussion on service dogs and PTSD. Cindy, we've talked about the triggers. How do veterans cope?
Well, they need to stay grounded. And what dogs are is a 4-footed grounding rod. Because they can sometimes just look at them, and the dog just stares at them like, hey, I'm here, chill. They go to have a night terror, the dog wakes them up. Some, depending on what they need, will turn on the light first and then pounce on them, and they bring them back like, now, you're here, you're safe, I'm right here. And that's why we have to put not every dog can be a service dog. I have concealed carry, so I have a 9mm. When I'm target practicing our place, they're out in the kennels. They're sitting like, what's she doing? They cannot have fear of the gunfire, the fireworks. We test them with all this stuff, and that dog has to be rock solid. And if they can't take that, they have to they're somebody's pet. And it's not that, it's a bad thing. Pets are very important. But the service dogs, we need something that's going to be right there. If the veterans shopping, and crowds of people, the dog, they're right there for them. If they're, they jump up on them if they're getting too nervous. And then they stop and they pet them. And they've proven just petting a dog decreases your heart rate.
Whenever you see those dogs, I have to fight the urge to go up and pet them, and because they look so beautiful and so calm, and you know how important they are. Mm-hmm. But Cindy, let's clear this up, because there's a lot of confusion out there on legal classifications of therapy animals. And we were joking before the show. Can I bring my my pet iguana around for my support on this airplane ride? So let's talk about this. First of all, service dogs, that's a dog specifically trained and purchased for the explicit purpose of helping individuals with significant functional or mental problems navigate their life. Emotional support animals, however, are medically prescribed animals that provide mental or emotional issues simply by being there. So the service dog can do a little more. You just touched on turning the light on.
Right. They turn the light on to wake them up.
Out of the refrigerator? No, I was
they
just kidding.
can
Right,
actually, but they can all they know is get the water. Whatever is on the bottom shelf of the refrigerator, they'll get. I did have one guy say, well, I like Dr. Pepper and Pepsi. Can the dog tell the difference? Well, no, they don't read. You're going to get whatever. You tell them to go get the water, they're going to open the door and grab whatever's on the bottom shelf. And so,
amazing.
Yeah, you're going to get whatever they pick, but they have, they're trained to go and get it. We have one, he'll even shut the door if he doesn't get it shut. He'll hit the refrigerator door and shut it. They help with balance. They pick up things. They help them when they fall. They, get clothes out of the dryer. They drag the basket to them. They, we've had so many different things that, they can do. A medic alert, if they have low or high blood sugar. We have a veteran, was going blind, so you can teach them to, navigate and help them. And a lot of them have traumatic brain injury, which also can be some hearing loss. So we train them to alert them if the smoke detector goes off or somebody's at the door, different. There's many things they can do.
Let me ask you, how long have you been doing this, and how many dogs have you put out there?
A lot. We have. I was certified in '83 as a trainer and behaviorist. Kind of gives away my age. And I've trained. I've had a lady tell me, she goes, "Oh my goodness, you must have trained thousands of dogs." I said, "No, but I've trained almost 4,000 people." The dogs are the
Interesting. That's a
easy
good
part.
point.
The dog,
Sure.
idiot's at the other end of the leash. The dogs are the
Dog
easy
but
part.
I think sometimes the dogs train us.
Yeah, they do, but they're, it's working with, I've trained for law enforcement, and I still do. I certify, and that's why I wanted to get certified for court, because canine dogs, you had to be certified in order to, certify the dog. Otherwise, they had to go somewhere else to get certified for court, so that was why I went to school. But yeah, we've put out we started Partners for Patriots in 2009. And it was after my mom had passed away. She died of cancer and owned the Coldwell Banker on 12th and Pierce. Very supportive of the military, because my sister was in for 20 years. And very giving. And I thought, we got to do something. I mean, I went to my late husband, and at the time we were living in Tennessee, and I said, I've got an idea. What do we really need? And he goes, what? And I said, I got an idea. And he goes, oh, Lord.
Well, that's a good place on the idea. Let's hold it right there, because we're coming up on our break. And so don't touch that dial. We'll be right back when things aren't going well.
Let's face it, that happens to all of us. However, the pandemic has compounded all of our lives and activities. Even the simplest tasks seem harder. Hi, I'm Brenda Geisinger, the Chief Operating Officer at the Boys and Girls Home and Family Services. Family Services is a United Way partner agency serving children and families of our community, and we're here to help. If you'd like to learn more about Family Services, please contact us via email, website, Facebook, or phone Mary Pickens. At Family Services, we change lives.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well on KSCJ. Here's Art Silva.
Welcome back to When Things Aren't Going Well. I'm Art Silva, along with Brenda Geisinger from Family Services and Cindy Brody for Partners for Patriots. And today we are discussing a timely topic in honor of our veterans, service dogs and PTSD. When we left our listening audience, we were right on the brink of talking about why Sydney does what she does with these dogs and a little history. So let's pick up where you left off on that idea your husband had.
Yeah, I actually had the idea. He was just like, oh Lord,
that
because he knew if I had the idea, it was kind of going to happen. So he just thought, well, it was good. His dad was a Marine. His cousin, Dan Holzrichter, is a Marine. And, so it's like, my sister was in the Air Force 20 years. I have 23 first cousins, and we have about every branch of the military covered.
Hey.
And so between aunt, uncles, cousins, family, it was like I wanted to do something, in honor of my mom, like I said, after she had passed away from cancer, and the veterans, and it was like put two and two together. I'd trained service dogs. I'd been training, for obedience, problem behavior, service dogs, search and rescue, law enforcement, home protection, business security. And so I trained them, but it was for profit. And I decided, what do we really need? I mean, we just shut it down. I make less, I'm the only one paid in the organization, and I don't mind saying I make $1,100 a month, and I pay my own taxes. And I went from $68,000 a year down to less, and people say, how do you do that? And I said, it's amazing what you don't need. And I think when you get to the end, I don't think what you have is going to matter. It's
Less
what
is more.
you do for somebody.
Less is more.
Yes.
I hear you.
Because they have, and these veterans have done so much. And, we had our vice president, George Semple, was a World War II veteran. And if George didn't like you, you had a problem. You better look in the mirror, because George never put down anybody. He had served, and he just, never talked about it ever. And, a lot of them, they have problems with drug and alcohol because they're trying to take away the pain.
Sure.
And
Well, let me ask you this then. Who qualifies for a service dog? Who would qualify to have a
Well,
service
we've
dog?
worked with veterans, their families. We have children of veterans that are autistic, and we train autism dogs they're harnessed to the child. We have one that the child's not only autistic, but deaf. And so the dog, he's harnessed to the dog, and if he doesn't, turn around to sign to the parents, and obviously he can't hear them, they just tell Roy to whoa, and Roy's almost 100 pounds. The child's not, and the child stops.
Yeah.
So we train, for even the family members, the wives, the veterans, they just fill out an application basically if they can care for the dog and have a place, that they can keep them, they can give them the exercise, they can get a dog.
Well, this is a tough question to ask you, but, dogs have their life cycle also. And I can only imagine the grief and what happens when a dog in service gets ill or passes away.
And that does a lot of times, we've had both happen where, the veteran has passed and the family keeps the dog because it means so much to them. And we have had the dogs get older, and yes, they do. They age much quicker than we do. And so we tell them if they start noticing that dog is slowing down, that's the point to get a hold of us, because we would like to get the new dog in there and working and give, let the other one. And we've had, they're spayed and neutered, so there's some that are 12 and 13.
13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
we
amazing.
had one that was 14 before the guy said, he said, I think I better start looking around. And I said, oh, you had an issue? And he said, yeah, I had a pretty bad night terror. And I said, he wasn't there. And he said he was snoring. He couldn't, he couldn't.
Top, huh?
He could, he was losing his sight and his hearing, and the dog was aging. So, as hard as it was, we got them another dog. And
Let me ask you, what breeds make the best service dogs?
dogs.
Any dog?
We've
Can you
had
get a Chihuahua for me?
we have had a beagle, a pug.
I love it.
We've had, the foo-foo dogs you can't use for balance.
Wait a minute. The foo-foo dog?
Well, the tiny ones, the foo-foo dogs, you can't.
Okay, I got you.
Because if you weigh 200 pounds and you fall on a Chihuahua, I'm sorry, it's
This
over. Not
big
for
thing.
you, for the Chihuahua, even though they're nasty enough to, get their point across. But they, we have, all of them are donated, most all of ours. So we have doodles. Roy was a Rottie doodle. We've had Chesapeake Bay Retriever, standard poodle mix. We've had, mutt and standard poodle mix. We've had mutt dogs. We rescue a lot from shelters and rescue groups, because if they can do the job, if they pass the test, we don't really care about the breed. And of course, there's a lot of Labradors donated, Shepherds, Golden Retrievers.
Sure. Now, you hear that, you mentioned that is the process involved in certifying a dog. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, actually the ADA, there is no national certification for a service dog.
Is that right?
None. You do not
You think
even
it's
have
needed?
to wear a vest.
Okay.
I do. They contacted me about 5 years ago, and as a trainer, would you have a problem with being evaluated? No, I had to get certified to train for law enforcement. So the problem is there's a lot of people that just take dogs out there that are not service dogs, and it really makes it hard for the people that need them, because those dogs are not behaving and they're getting into trouble, and then the places don't want to allow them in. And one dog at the mall bit a child, and the guy had a vest on it, because unfortunately you can get them on the internet. But we put them through a lot of testing. I mean, we dragged boxes. I actually found a lampshade on the road and picked it up so I could put my tarp over me and my lampshade on top. And I walk up to the pens going, "Bah!" And the dogs are like, "What are you doing?" Because we want to make sure
Right.
that they're not afraid. I throw buckets at the fence. We drag boxes with them. We take them in elevators. We take them up, Port Home Store is very nice to us because we use their escalators. And, everywhere we can go to get these dogs used to different situation, the malls, restaurants, any place that, we appreciate them so much, because the puppies in training, they do not have to let in.
Oh.
We have asked them, you know,
Okay.
in advance, the mall, the restaurants, you know. But there's enough places that do allow dogs, you know, Baumgart's, Hobby Lobby is dog friendly, Shields is dog friendly.
Dog friendly, folks.
Yes, there's enough places that Home Depot, as long as you have a leash on them, Petco, PetSmart,
Let me
you can
say
take
this.
them in.
I got a place that's dog friendly, and it's a boys and girls home. Brenda, what do you think about a visit? Would you like to have? You think our kids would benefit from a visit from the dogs?
I think that would be fabulous. Our kids in the past have had exposure to therapy dogs, not service dogs. But animals know what people need when
Yes.
they're off emotionally and just really struggling. And they provide this sense of calmness and unconditional support for that person. It's phenomenal to watch that experience.
Yeah, we've had puppies in training all of a sudden go to somebody at the mall, you know, a stranger that's walking there, and they'll sit there and pet them. And one guy says, "Thank you so much." He goes, "I was just about ready to lose it."
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I always want to go over and pet the dog, and sometimes I don't want you to. But hey, this has been great. We're coming up on the end of our show for this week, and we want to leave you with a little humor for your mental wellness. So, you know, humor is good for the soul. A drill sergeant had just chewed out a cadet as he was walking away. He turned to the cadet and said, "I guess when I die, you're going to come and dance on my grave." "Not me, Sarge. No, sir. I promised myself when I got out of the Army, I'd never stand in another line." Well, listen, I want to thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Cindy, for sharing your expertise with us today. Folks, Partners for Patriots, please, partnersforpatriots.org. Go online, take a look at what they do. It's a great organization. They really helped out. I'm just kind of get choked up for words here with the veterans sometimes thinking about it. So I really want
We
to
do
thank
help them so much, and that's why I tell people dog is God spelled backwards, because they get into your
you.
soul.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I want to give a shout out this morning to Lucy's Italian Restaurant located in Graham's at Dakota Dunes. Mamma mia, is the food good? And also Terry and Susie at Stuffed Thrift Teak Store, Sioux City's best kept secret located in the Indian Hills Plaza. Huge Christmas sale on now, so hurry in. I want to be back. We'll be back next Saturday morning at 7 right here on KSCJ 1360 AM, 94.9 FM, and we'll discuss an attitude of gratitude. Don't forget to do your homework this week and have a good laugh. It's good for the soul. Have a great week, and may the sun shine on you.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
For more information on the services provided by Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, see them online at boysandgirlshomeiowa.org. Or you can call 712-293-4700 to get more information about family services, residential treatment, the Opportunity School, the Siouxland Family Center, and more. At Boys and Girls Home and Family Services, we change lives. We change lives.